For the past 3 weeks, March Madness has been rolling around in the heads of every basketball fan. As we all bounce back to post-tournament life, let's regroup and get caught up on the world around us.
This guy is brutal, and what's happening in Bucha is outrageous, and everyone's seen it.
There's a new plan to punish Putin for his attack on Ukraine. Plus, the FDA says some folks should get another COVID shot.
So while the FDA has approved the fourth dose for those ages 50 and older, my professional opinion is
we ask a local medical expert if you really need it. And you probably noticed a welcome drop in gas prices. Don't get too excited. Gas Buddy says there's another threat looming. It's time to pivot back to reality. Let's dig into it. The war in Ukraine feels like it just started last week. It also kind of feels like it's been going on for years now. In reality, today marks the 40th day of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Each day, more Ukrainians die. And the international community says more has to be done to punish Russia, starting with a war crimes investigation.
Russia wants to turn Ukraine into silent slaves.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky delivered a powerful address to the UN Security Council today, accusing Russia of war crimes.
They killed entire families, adults and children, and they tried to burn the bodies.
Satellite images show bodies lying in the streets of Bucha, long before Russian forces left the town.
The world has yet to see what they have done in other occupied cities and regions of our country.
The horrifying death toll there has triggered international outrage.
These crimes betray the trust of every Russian mother who proudly waves goodbye to her son as he heads off to join the military.
The U.S. says it's joining Ukraine in seeking Russia's suspension from the UN's Human Rights Council.
Given the growing mountain of evidence, Russia should not have a position of authority in a body whose very purpose is to promote respect for human rights.
The United Nations and the European Union also plan to unveil a new sanctions package tomorrow, and NATO and G7 countries will meet later in the week to discuss sending more weapons to Ukraine. Confirmation hearings for President Biden's Supreme Court nominee began just right after the tournament play tipped off. Well, weeks later, Democrats say they now have enough votes to confirm her, and they want to move fast. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson now has the votes to be confirmed to the Supreme Court. The magic number is 51 out of 100 senators, a simple majority. All 48 Democrats, plus the 2 independents who caucus with them, are supporting the judge. And now 3 Republicans say they will also vote for her. Republican Senator Mitt Romney of Utah and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, plus Maine's Susan Collins, bringing the senator supporting Judge Jackson up to 53, more than needed. North Carolina Senators Tom Tillis and Richard Burr both say they will vote against confirming Judge Jackson, both citing concerns over Jackson's positions on radical proposals to pack the Supreme Court by expanding the number of justices. According to the National Constitution Center, the ability to change the number of justices on the court is a congressional power, not something that's up to the members of the Supreme Court. The ideological makeup of the court stays the same with Jackson. Conservatives would maintain their 6-3 majority.
Why are you the best person for the job? Why should you get our vote?
This weekend, WFMY News 2 partnered with Delta Sigma Theta and UNCG to host a debate between the 4 candidates running for mayor in Greensboro. I had the honor of being one of 2 moderators, and it was so informative. We really did learn a ton about what each candidate thinks. You can see the whole debate on our YouTube page. All you have to do is search for WFMY News 2. Here's some good news for the Triad economy that happened during the tournament. Organizers say High Point Furniture Market came roaring back to life this weekend. Attendance had dropped the past 2 years, which was really bad timing for Lil's Coffee Bar. It opened right at the start of the downturn. The owner says seeing market back at its full level now feels so good.
We are, actually more of a hotspot for furniture market now. They made sure that we're a stop for the shuttles that run regularly, so that's helped a lot.
The market ends tomorrow, so watch out at local charity shops for all those market samples to pop up soon. The ability to get treatment for COVID took a big hit during the basketball tournament. A Harvard professor tweeted out that federal coverage for testing and treatment for uninsured Americans ended in late March. Some help could come soon. Could, meaning it's still up in the air in Congress. So we verified where things stand right now.
Our sources are the White House, HR 2471, the U.S. Health Resources and Services Administration, and Quest Diagnostics. Since March 2020, the federal government has spent trillions of dollars funding the nation's coronavirus response through the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan. But the White House says that money is running out, and HR 2471, the new $1.5 trillion spending bill, doesn't allocate any money to this. As a consequence of funding not being renewed, the Health Resources and Services Administration said, quote, the uninsured program will stop accepting new claims for testing and treatment due to lack of sufficient funds, unquote. Quest Diagnostics, a medical lab company, has begun notifying its clients and partners that it is no longer expecting to be reimbursed for rapid and PCR testing through the program, unless, quote, additional funding is allocated, unquote. So we can verify, yes, federal coverage of COVID-19 testing and treatment for uninsured Americans has ended.
In other COVID news, the FDA approved a fourth shot for people older than 50, 4 months after their first booster. The medical community has not reached a clear consensus on the move, though. Here's how a local doctor says you might approach it.
My professional opinion is that the fourth dose is really most beneficial for much older patients over the age of 65 and those with significant chronic medical conditions. And I think we should be prioritizing those individuals at this time. Vaccine supply is good, so if you're at higher risk and eligible, consider getting boosted or speak with your healthcare provider to determine if it's necessary.
He says we should keep encouraging the unvaccinated to get their first doses also. Gas prices sit pretty penny compared to pretty nice. I'm so excited about this I can barely talk, y'all. Gas prices are better now than before when March Madness began. The week the tournament started, the average price in gas in Greensboro cost $4.15. Since then, we've seen prices fall for 3 weeks straight now. The latest Gas Buddy report says gas costs are now $3.91 on average in the Triad. President Biden says he'll release more oil from our reserves to try to bring prices down even more. He's tapping 1 million barrels of oil a day for 180 days. He hopes this brings gas price relief nationwide. Experts say the move may not have an impact, though, and they worry it could actually put us in a pinch if a bigger emergency comes up. If gas prices aren't enough to worry about, you should also have jet fuel cost on your radar. The average airline ticket has increased by more than 30% since the beginning of the year.
If you missed a window, 2 days later, the prices were like $100 more.
Economists say airlines have also raised prices because more people want to travel now since the pandemic has gotten better.